Now, listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it.
It's time for Max World.
And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Matt 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody. Showtime.
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
6 minutes after 3 o'clock on the 24th day of May in the year of the Lord, 2016. J. Michael McCoy with the usual suspects this afternoon as we play Max World again. Every day from 3 to 5. We're here. I'm glad you're here. If you're new, welcome. It's not a big deal. Just a show. It's a local show. Do not expect us to get into a lot of national controversy type of stuff. Well, I shouldn't say that because I got a story today that's about nuns. And it's not
nuns.
Local. Nuns. Like priests and nuns?
Yeah.
Not N-O-N. No, none. N-O-N.
N-O-N-E.
N-O-N-E. Not those kind of nuns. The N-U-N-S nuns.
Wow.
Because when the saints come marching home, they'll be led by the nuns.
That's a new version of that song.
Yeah. Anyway, and also Bill Cosby, he's been charged. They finally think they got enough evidence. So that and more. Roosevelt High School teacher and coach, the one that was accused of the sexual misuse with the child, charges dismissed. What's going to happen to him now? Huh? Now you're going to get Max Dander up. He ought to get his job back. He ought to get back pay. You don't want to talk about it?
Well, I didn't know if we were talking about it right now or if you were just teasing me. All right.
No, we're not talking about it right now. I will tell you later on.
You see how he did that, Bob? See how he tried to bait me? He tried to get me in on it, and then he was going to cut me off. I knew he was going to do it.
It's called leading the witness.
That's what I thought. That's cheating.
Speaking of the witness, now listen, get your ear closer to the radio here because I kind of have a secret for you. You ready? Are you close enough? Psst. Tom Coates has got the goods on Prairie Meadows. Yeah. He thinks he knows who blew this whole thing up. This is an inside job with this IRS thing.
Really?
Somebody inside. Oh, wow. How else are they going to know? I mean, they went right to where it was. It was like, there's cheese on top of the evidence, and here comes the big rat named Frank, and he just goes out and munches it up. Anyway, we'll talk about that. Also, Shane Vanderhart in later. Why? Oh, why are you anti-Trump? I just want to talk to somebody. He's not going to be in here because he's afraid I'll throw something at him. He'll be on the phone.
What? Oh, okay. Well, I see how it is.
All right. Now, Chris, yesterday we had a conversation, and it was about guns.
Yep.
And can you give me an overall 5 or 6 word sentence that tells the listeners your position yesterday on gun control?
My position was simply this, that if you...
That's 6. You're done. Thanks. I said, can't you follow instructions? I need to keep it short. There's a lot of OCD folks out there like me. Pro-gun, anti-gun.
Nope. Not going to go there. It's not what I said.
No, I'm asking you, are you pro-gun or anti-gun?
He's pro-enforce the law.
If a person believes that owning a gun is a right, then there is no law that can be created to prevent them from that right.
Would you tell Mr. Obama that? Because the Constitution says a right to bear, and that ain't naked. That's bear arms.
Right. So,
and not these like I'm flapping.
Right. So my point was that the conservative movement seems to be playing the victim card by saying, this isn't fair, they're trying to take our guns away.
That's true.
That's baloney.
They're not trying to take our guns away?
It's malarkey to say it's not fair. It's malarkey to say it's not fair.
Okay.
See, my argument is that owning a gun is not a right.
It's a privilege?
It is a privilege at best. But it is not a right, because if in fact it was...
Are you a constitutionalist,
because if no, I'm beyond a constitutionalist. I'm not bound by the Constitution. I live in the United States, and I'm thankful for the Constitution. It gives me the freedoms that I so greatly enjoy here in the United States of America. But no, I'm not bound by the Constitution. My conscience is clear. I stand before God and man with a clear conscience. But no, I would say that if we say that owning a gun is a right, then that means that there is no law that can take that right from you. And when we play this victim card, we're really feeding into the notion that owning a gun is not a right, that it is something that can be taken away. If you play the victim card, it can be taken away.
It can be taken away. If you're convicted of a felony in this country, when you get out of the slammer, you don't get to have your gun.
Should it be?
Well, then it's not a right, is it? Then it's a privilege.
I would argue that it's not. I would argue that it is a privilege
to own a gun.
Yes.
Okay, I don't disagree with you, but we can't lie. The Second Amendment says the right, not the privilege, the right to bear arms.
The Second Amendment also says rights do not come from the government; they come from our Creator.
Okay.
Same Constitution, right?
Right.
So the Constitution's hypocritical then, right? So if the Second Amendment says that you have a right to bear arms, and you say that right comes from the Constitution, then you're wrong, because the Constitution itself says that rights come from God.
I don't understand the point you're making.
The point that I'm making is that we are playing into the same, that conservatives play into the same victim language that other folks do when they get upset because something doesn't go their way.
All right. So do you, Frank?
The Second Amendment of the United States Constitution reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Okay. Thank you very much, George Washington. All right, so if a person, now I think the conversation we had yesterday was because there was some kids in that neighborhood.
Yeah, your words, yeah. My
words, not yours. The opinions of J. Michael McCoy are never those of Chris Roloff.
Well, except for when I agree with you, but I'll make that crystal clear.
We had a discussion yesterday about a couple groups of kids, not adults, kids. KIDS. Tricks are for kids. There was some shooting going back and forth.
Yep.
What should the penalty be for having a gun and shooting something at somebody?
Right, and that was the question. I think I was posing the question that instead of talking about people having the right to bear arms or to have guns and that kind of stuff, I think that we should be more thinking about how do we punish lawbreakers in the United States? How do we go about doing that? And I don't know that I have an answer or a solution.
Exactly. I want to hear what your punishment would be on this.
Okay.
Frank, you see how I led him down the trail? Just been dropping little boxes of cheese behind me and
piece of candy. Piece of candy.
Yep, candy pants. Candy. Dateline, Postville, Iowa. So this is local.
Is that like a real place?
Yes.
I made it up.
That sounds made up. Postville, Iowa.
They can listen to us.
I love everyone in Postville, Iowa.
Yeah. Oh, now all of a sudden, yeah. There we go.
Postville is my favorite town.
Postville School Super.
I'm huge in Postville. Have you seen my numbers in Postville?
Yeah.
I'm huge. Postville people love me.
Are you ready to continue listening?
To talk about Postville, Iowa?
Yeah. So if you're listening, you can't be talking and listening at the same time. I want you to know that's impossible.
Is it?
It's biologically, Bob, you're the scientist. It's biologically, am I right? It's biologically impossible to talk and listen at the same time. Right?
I have never heard that one. Oh, am I supposed to say right?
I think you're just
We are talking about rights.
Yes. Mac is right.
The Postville School Superintendent in Northeast Iowa says 2 sixth graders have been suspended for shooting guns at 5 classmates. Now, did you hear that? Let me back up. I left a word out. The Postville School Superintendent in Northeast Iowa says 2 sixth graders. What is that? 8 years old? 10 years old?
10.
Sixth graders have been suspended for shooting guns at 5 classmates. Superintendent Abe Maskey said Tuesday that none of the 5 suffered serious injuries from the gunfire fired Monday afternoon outside the kindergarten through 6th grade building after lunch. Wonder if they had the black, the black stuff below their eyes, and maybe they had like a fake bush on them, like they were walking, trying not to be seen, like camouflaged. As they walked in front of the kindergarten through 6th grade building after lunch. Maskey says the district is still investigating the incident, so he couldn't yet say what final discipline the students will face. The last day of class for the school year is Friday. This type of gun is considered weapons under the district policy.
I'm sorry, was it type of gun? What kind of gun was it?
Well, we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
It's just a gun. Because all you care about is justice for people who fire guns, right? They're criminals. They should be put in jail, their foot shot off. I don't remember everything you said yesterday.
I didn't say any of that stuff.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Foot shut off, that was Mac's idea. Yep. Mm-hmm. I said that's kind of like Sharia law. Probably not for that. No. Mm-mm. Just throwing that out there. Probably wasn't me.
By the way, Chris, I don't think they can hear us in Postville.
They can't?
Just saying.
Oh, well, in that case. Just kidding. I'm joking around. I'm joking.
All right, so two sixth graders shot guns at 5 kids. Nobody was seriously injured. They're trying to figure out what discipline. And the guns are illegal.
How wet are the kids?
How wet?
Yeah, that they shot.
Wet?
Yeah, with the water guns, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
You think water guns are considered weapons under the district policy?
Who knows, man? American public schools, dude. I don't know. Wearing long shorts is illegal nowadays.
And
I don't
if they
know
shoot you in the eye with a water gun, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I don't know.
What should the punishment for these
the
terrible, law-breaking, criminal sixth graders? Just throw the book at them.
The Boy Scouts of America just said that you can't shoot water guns as a Boy Scout. So I don't know, man. It could have been a water gun.
Okay, it wasn't a water gun.
Okay, why don't you tell me what kind of gun it was before you try to trap me?
Airsoft guns.
Okay, so these are pellets, right?
Correct.
Pellet guns.
Little plastic pellets.
Plastic pellets.
Plastic
6 millimeters.
Pellets. So now, big dog, what do you want? What? Should we grab these kids from their mothers and strap them up in shingles? No, not shingles. What do they call those things?
Shackles.
Shackles and chains. Send them to the boot farm. We'll talk about that when we come back. Did you guys notice at home how I got Chris on that gun thing right there? Did you see that? We're live, Max World, 99.3. It's the truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. 21 minutes after 3:21 in the afternoon on the 24th day of May in the Lord's year 2016. Tom Coates will be in pretty soon. You got the buzz on what's going on at Prairie Meadows with this. They are going to lose their not-for-profit. That is a bad deal. That is a bad deal. And let me tell you something. There's a whole bunch of Republicans from about 20 years ago. That'd be about right, wouldn't it, Frank? Prairie Meadow's probably 20 years old.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of Republicans right now telling you we told you so. Now, unfortunately, some of them, God bless them, didn't get a chance to live long enough to see it. I'm thinking of a couple guys in my head that just fought that thing tooth and nail because they knew what it would end up being. It would end up being this bureaucratic cluster run by a bunch of, I don't want to say that word, questionable characters in the Democratic Party. So we'll see what Tom has to say. Okay, so I've got these hardened criminals, two of them. They acted as a pair. They almost killed 5 people. Okay.
Better every time.
Huh?
Story keeps getting better.
And now these kids and the weapons they were carrying, they are against the law where they were at. So, Mr. Justice, Law and Justice, Mr. Superman, Mr. Magno Man, what would you do with these guys? These hardened criminals, 2 of them, acted as a pair. So they, Frank, what's that word? They co-conspired. I mean, this is like terrorism. Remember the brothers that blew up the bomb at
the Zarniff?
Yeah, at the end of the Boston Marathon, just like them. Hardened criminals. If they can't find them, check the boat. So what do you want me to do with these hardened criminals? Postville, Iowa.
Public hanging?
There's one idea. Boy, that'd stop the other men from playing with guns. Come on, you were the one on this big thing yesterday.
What did I say yesterday? Do you remember? Because you've said a whole lot of things I didn't say.
No, I've said a whole lot of things you don't want to admit to saying.
So I would go back to something that I said yesterday that I thought I liked. See, I'm not a gun guy. I'm not pro guns. I don't own a gun. I don't want to own a gun. So you got to come out of the woodwork there, and you can say what you think about me that way. But I don't own guns. But I think on this issue, I kind of want to echo something I said before. And oftentimes we look at neighborhoods or areas or communities or kids like this that are being disrespectful with firearms. Okay, now this was a pellet gun, but they're being disrespectful with pellet guns.
It was a gun. It was a gun that was not allowed on district property.
Right, and that's
infringing upon the rights of regular gun owners.
What now? What?
Now, they took guns and did something bad with them. And these are the guys you're against, you said yesterday.
I didn't say it was against
the criminals. It's the people that use guns for criminal acts that you think ought to have the book thrown at them.
They need to be punished. I never said throw the book out.
Okay,
but they need to be.
punished.
They do need to be punished. These kids are going to be punished, Mac. Do you think these kids are not going to be punished? In the article that you read, they're even considering that them being suspended. Obviously, I would say that their guns need to be taken from them, at least temporarily, as some form of discipline. I think their parents need to be notified. There's going to be some form of punishment. These kids are not going to go unpunished. They're going to go punished. Have I given this enough thought to declare what I think that punishment ought to be? Heck no.
Well, what do you think should happen to these 2 hardened criminals? I want you to think about it. You've had 24 hours to think about it. What do you want to think about? I said yesterday we should.
For the whole of like 3 minutes.
I said yesterday we shoot them both in the kneecap, so we'll see them coming by their limp.
No, I don't think
Frank?
we need to.
Well, they ought to have to make a mandatory visit to like a city morgue, have to observe some dead bodies and see what the result of messing around with guns is. Maybe go to an emergency situation where there's some gunshot victims.
Mm-hmm. How about if they have to take their little fingers and put them in a bullet hole in somebody's body, and then they have to pull the bullet out with their fingers with no pain medicine?
So what I said yesterday was, they're neighborhoods and there are folks that don't have a healthy respect for guns, but there are a lot of people that are very pro-gun. that believe guns are good and that guns are for the safety of the community. I think those people that have that passion should take up their knowledge and actually train and teach kids both in public school and in private school, and have community opportunities for young people to come and learn how to use a gun, learn and respect guns, understand that they have power, understand that they hurt people, and teach people to have a respect for guns. And when they don't,
I'm sorry, I'm just waiting for the answer to my question.
What? I told you I'm not.
How should we punish these two criminals?
Okay, unlike people who make knee-jerk reactions and regret things they say, I don't want to do that. So I don't know how we
today.
I don't know that we want to. I don't.
Today he chooses the safe side. Okay, so you have no comment that's have any salt of the earth.
How do you stop a bad guy with a gun?
A good guy with a gun.
Boom.
Thank you, Jebediah. 244-0077. Let's go to the phones where Paul is standing by. Paul, you're live at Mac's World. How you doing today?
Not too bad, Mac. How you getting along?
I'm getting along really good. Hey, what should we do with these two hardened criminals up in Pottsville, Iowa?
Well, I understand that the airsoft gun is a toy that's utilized for kids to shoot at one another. That's what they're designed for. It says right on the box they're safe enough to do stuff like that. Yeah, you can probably put an eye out or anything else like that. Any kind of thing like that.
The weapon is considered, the guns are considered weapons under the school district policy.
Correct, right. So here's what the school has to do. The school has to go after Mattel or anybody that makes any of these guns and go after them to make sure that that they're classified a firearm, which should involve the muzzle speed or the muzzle velocity, the pressure of the weapon that's involved, all those things. Now, if they were using a high pressure, like a Crossman 177 caliber type of air pistol or something like that, where the volume could get up to 1,200 feet per second, yeah, it'd probably kill somebody. That kind of stuff. But we're not dealing with that. We're talking a little Mattel toy. There's a difference between a toy and a firearm.
Then why did the district say they considered them quote unquote weapons?
Because they're stupid.
Oh, okay. Now your side comes in, Chris.
You can't get any dumber than stupid. Now, these guys are educated. They know what they are. They can look on the box. Say on the box, this is a toy. This is not a lethal weapon.
No,
it'll come up little targets they can shoot at. They can play army with one another. That's what boys do.
Frank?
Now, wait a minute, Paul. I've heard there are some morons out there who are studying up to take the idiot exam.
Yeah, they're going to probably pass it, too, because it's kind of moronic.
Well, the thing you have to consider, too, is that those airsoft weapons look like real weapons, other than maybe it has a little red tip that people can easily take off. So there's a danger for kids to be, coming out with weapons that look like real
they can get shot by a cop.
I completely understand that. If a person wants to make sure there's a difference between those, then the government can say all these toys will be made such a way. They'll be either made pink or blue or some other color that doesn't resemble a real gun.
Well, that's not a good thought, because they are making guns pink and different colors for women to use.
It has to be non-gender specific, so like a transgender gun or something.
A transgender gun.
There you go. So it's
quick.
Nice
somebody get it for me. Transgendergun.com. Buy one, get one P. All right.
Something like that.
Paul, I appreciate you calling in every day. Thank you, brother. All right. 515-244-0077. You can call you can't call, but you can text the Service Legends Truth text line and tell us what you're thinking there. Okay. You want to move on to another little piece of injustice?
Yes. One of the texts say move on.
The text says move on?
Yes.
Or you said move on?
No, the text does.
Wow.
Who said that?
A text.
Somebody from Boone.
Oh, wow. We got at least caller ID. 515-244. No. That's the call-in one. 515-809-0993.
You okay, big dog?
Huh.
All right, now this is serious.
Serious stuff.
The sexual abuse case against a former Roosevelt High School teacher and coach has been dismissed. Gerald Tig Johnson, who coached the girls' basketball team and taught special ed at the Des Moines High School, was accused of touching and kissing a former student. He faced charges of sexual exploitation by a school employee, assault with an intent to commit sexual abuse stemming from the December 3rd incident. However, in the case, District Court Judge Michael Huppert ruled that witnesses would not be allowed to testify about a key surveillance video that the high school reportedly showed the teen entering and leaving Johnson's classroom. Prosecutors believe that they could not prove Johnson's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt following Huppert's ruling. Assistant Polk County Michael Slaviner said that. So I want to move down the road here just a little bit. This was during the 14-15 school year, by the way. Johnson is a well-known coach at the Des Moines area, leading the Roosevelt team to a state championship win in 2006 and runner-up in 2007. He's on leave pending the outcome of the trial, as well as proceedings in an administrative complaint the district filed against him in the Iowa Board of Education. Additionally, the district has not offered Johnson a contract for the 2016-17 school year. So, what do you think the school district owes to Mr. Johnson? He had to walk off his job. Go ahead, here's the story. He had to leave his job. He's been on suspension or on leave. I'm hoping he was paid during that time. What do you think, Chris?
The article ends here by saying that Coach Johnson is on leave pending the outcome of the trial.
Right.
So we don't have the outcome of the trial yet.
Yeah, we do. He was acquitted.
Then why does it say that?
Why does it say what?
He is on leave pending the outcome of the trial.
Here, let me see it.
Do I not know how to read good?
I don't know. I think you probably know how to read well. Criminal complaint filed against the coach claimed Johnson, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Then Johnson's well-known coach. He is on leave pending the outcome of the trial, as well as proceedings in an administrative complaint the district filed against him with the Iowa Board of Education. So he shouldn't be on leave anymore. He's on leave pending the outcome of the trial. The trial was he was acquitted. Now, as Sarcone said, he could go back in and refile charges, but they don't have the evidence.
They won't.
They don't have the evidence. So this man's reputation has been ruined. This man's a teacher, 46 years old. He was accused of doing the worst possible thing a male teacher could do. He coaches the girls' basketball team. His kids, can you imagine his kid? Can you imagine the bullies on the playgrounds with one of his kids? Hey, your dad's a, the wife. It's got to be just terrible for her. He probably was shunned if he went to church. We're really good at that as Christians. Ooh, you've been accused? You're out. Come back when you're clean. So what? I mean, this is your justice arena. What do you do here? You certainly probably agree with the fact that he was put on leave because he was accused of a pretty heinous crime. But
sure.
now he didn't do it. He's been acquitted. So when does justice come around for this fine young man?
You know, I think you ask a really great question, and it's a difficult one to answer, to be honest with you. I think we have to trust the criminal justice system that they acquitted the guy, so the guy's innocent. We can't go back in time. It's very difficult to do that. If I was Johnson, I don't know if I'd want to go back to the school. So if they offered me my job back, I don't know that I'd necessarily want to take it.
Well, he wasn't offered a contract in the 16-17 school year, so...
Right. Yeah, I don't think I would want it. I would want something that clears my name in some sort of public fashion so that as I apply at other places, I could go free. Something that would give me positive movement forward.
All right, coming up next, Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Iowa. And he's going to share with us a little bit more information on Prairie Meadows next.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. 3:38, 22 minutes before the top of the hour. Top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News. And then after that, Tom Coates and me and Chris and Frank and Bob and Jebediah and Shane Vanderhart as we talk about the Trumpster. Shane is one of those people who have been vocal about not supporting Trump. And I just want to have a conversation about it. So I think that's a good idea. Now, he's not feeling well. No, he's got a meeting. So he'll be on the phone, so we'll all be able to sit here.
As he moved on, after a personal disdain for Trump into a active campaign against Trump.
Yes.
So he's trying to get other people. He's trying to proselytize other people to vote along with him.
Yes.
Well, I don't think that's right.
Well, you'll have a chance to talk to him. All right. But Tom Coates is here. I know you just came in. Did you hear the thing I was talking about with the
I was
coach?
listening on the way in, Mac.
What do you think? I mean, as citizens, our school, our public school, our government schools decided to make a big deal about this guy, this coach, who was accused of pulling a 16-year-old girl into a room, and she left an hour later, and she claims that there was improper things going on. She said she swore by it. There was a videotape that would have showed her going into the coach's office, but it was never found. It was MIA. Now he's been acquitted. Mm-hmm. What can we do for this man? Or is he just, is that just the nature of the product?
Well, I don't know the answer to that, Mac. I mean, there's all sorts of false accusations. There was one about a fellow the other day that a preacher, a pastor down in Austin, Texas, accused, of all people, Whole Foods of baking him a wedding cake and writing FAG on the cake in frosting.
Right.
His problem was that they found the video as you mentioned the video, and they demonstrated there was no FAG on the cake when he walked out with it. It was something that he placed on it. He charged Whole Foods with homophobic behavior and was going to sue them, only to find out that they had evidence to the contrary. And so his LBGT-friendly church in Austin is now have an embarrassed pastor. But they really should be able to hold these kind of guys accountable. I would love to see it if, they could come back and charge him with some kind of a crime or hold him civilly liable, because certainly they're trying. Obviously, he thought he could choke the system and get a settlement from Whole Foods, who is probably one of the most LBGT-friendly grocery store chains in the country. So anyway, I don't have an answer for you, though. Yeah, Frank?
But in these stories, it doesn't make any difference if it's true or not. It points out the larger problem. It's like the Rolling Stone story of the rape case up in Virginia.
Yeah.
It points out a larger problem. So
you're saying that sarcastically.
Yeah,
well, in Iowa City, had the black young man that claimed that he was jumped by three white youths and called racial slurs and beat up. Turned out I think he was drinking that night, got into separate fights, and it was a national embarrassment. He had to back off, and yet the University of Iowa continued to make the changes that they promised to make on the false allegations. Oh, well, the seriousness of the charge. Have you ever heard that expression before?
Yes.
The seriousness of the charge outweighs the evidence, and so we're going to move on this and see what we can do to become better in this regard. Go ahead.
It's the idea when the media jumps on the story and they find out it's a bogus story, instead of just apologizing that they jumped on a false narrative, they come out and say, well, it paints a picture of a larger problem that we have.
Exactly.
They try to excuse the fact that they blew the story.
Well, it depends on the agenda of the story, too. If it fits their narrative, they're not going to fully apologize. Right. If it flies against their narrative, they probably never aired it in the first place. But anyway, I came in to discuss a little bit about Prairie Meadows before we got into the last hour of the politics. Mac, you want to talk about that one, or?
Yeah, I do. But I'm concerned that you're not wearing any type of germ-free or latex gloves. You're holding a. Do I dare say it? City View.
I just happened to pick it up. I was going, in fact, I had lunch with two of my grandsons today, and I went to Subway, and I picked this up. The one reason I picked this up, Mac, once in a while I get something else out of it, is the Civic Skinny.
Yeah, I agree.
And written by, for those of you that don't, because he didn't put his name on it, but it's an open secret that Michael Gardner writes the Civic Skinny and has for years, and digs into some stories that you don't normally see in the normal press.
Correct.
And so I pick it up to see who's in there and what he's writing about. Now, I'm not, I'm certainly not going to endorse a countercultural publication like this, but that's the reason I pick it up. And this week in particular, it shed light on I think a budding scandal that ties back into our subject of Prairie Meadows today.
Yeah, tell me about it.
The headlines of the Civic Skinny says, "To quit the board of planned convention hotel." And there's two ladies. One is Cynthia Eisenhower, and I won't go into all the detail, and another one named Susan Voss, who have stepped off of the board for this hotel. And again, I'll condense it down. What it's saying is that this major 330-room hotel that the Hilton is overseeing, but it is set up like a nonprofit that we are about to talk about. They are going to compete against the for-profit hotels downtown. They have put $30 million in debt on the backs of the Polk County citizens again. Does that sound familiar to what happened back in the...
what was it, about 20 years ago?
27. Well, it opened in 1989.
No.
89, okay.
Yeah, we're talking about... And really, the media has been shackled for the last quarter of a century, guys, since they paid off their debt and they became strategic partners with so many institutions. They became strategic partners with the media outlets. It's been 25 years ago since legitimate reporting in the Register was done about the downside of Prairie Meadows. The TV stations, same way. There were a few talk radio stations that would dare speak out, but most of them have been muted until just very recently, and it's kind of refreshing to read some of these stories in the Register. I was quoted in Bill Petrosky's story, came out on Sunday. But we're finally getting to some reporting, and here we've got perhaps maybe since the institution of Prairie Meadows, maybe the biggest boondoggle looking to be perpetrated, and the timing couldn't be worse. They are looking back to Prairie Meadows to undergird and underwrite. I'm told that the hotels, there have been half a dozen sprung up in recent years downtown, and that except for a few special occasions, the state tournaments and so forth, that their occupancy rates typically run around 40% of the downtown hotels, guys. Now, I don't know that that's true, but I heard that, and I can believe it. And yet they're counting on occupancy rates up to 60 to 65% and more to justify the payback of all this debt on this new hotel.
What's the purpose of having a nonprofit hotel?
Well, what is the purpose of having except they're following the example of Prairie Meadows, which, again, the timing couldn't be worse. Now let's go into the linchpin, or at least one of the main linchpins, on why Prairie Meadows is going to eventually lose their tax-exempt status. First off, as I said last week on this show, they never should have been granted in the first place. Gambling activities for a nonprofit only suit as an occasional sideline industry, not the core of it, according to the IRS publications that I've read. But beyond that point, one of the linchpins here, guys, is the competition against for-profit enterprises. And again, this hotel typifies what we're talking about. You're going to have a tax-exempt charitable operation competing against all the other hotels that are struggling to keep their heads above water right now. You're going to sink a lot of those other struggling hotels when this thing goes through. And then it's going to fail, and you're going to throw the debt, just like they did with Prairie Meadows years ago, back onto the backs of the Polk County taxpayers, except this time they won't be able to put a bunch of slot machines in that hotel and call it casino. Too.
For now.
How do you know? Well, seriously.
Well, I think the advent, there's only 2 nonprofit casinos in the whole country. One is here, Prairie Meadows, and the other one's up in Dubuque. And as Prairie Meadows goes down, the one in Dubuque will be gone too. So any thought of having a nonprofit casino, I think, is going to go out the window. Now, let's go back.
All right, hold on. Just hold on to that thought. We're going to take a break.
All right.
All right. We're going to take our last break in this hour. Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines is here. Chris is here. Chris, you look like you're sneaking out.
No, I'm doing good. I'm just listening. I'm learning a lot.
Are you feeling okay today?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Okay. We're coming back live with Chris.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common, everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
10 minutes before the top of the hour, 3:50 on the 24th day of May in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy. As the story around Prairie Meadows heats up, that may mean that you're thinking about, well, can you hit it big at the slots? Can you hit it big at the horses? Because if you do, you can probably afford a new house. A lot of people get their money that way. Well, no matter how you get your money, you need an honest, professional real estate agent to be working for you. His name is Seth Walker. Call him up, 577-3728. He's the guy you want to call when you and the wife drive by the house and she goes, "Oh, honey, look at that house over there. I wonder if they'd be interested in selling." See, Seth will notify the current owners, even if there's not a for sale sign in the yard, and say, "Hey, I've got an interested party. If it's a reasonable price, would you be interested in selling your house?" Bingo, there you go. That's why you need a professional real estate agent, not a hobbyist. Seth Walker at 577-3728. Tom Coates in the house today. Next hour, about 25 after the hour, we'll have Shane Vanderhart, and he was a big, I think, what's he, a cruise guy? Yeah,
probably.
Big cruise guy. And now he's one of those people that's anybody but Trump.
Hashtag never Trump.
Yeah, never Trump. There you go. How do you know about that? You're not on Twitter, are you?
No, but I see these guys on Facebook all the time.
Okay.
Tim Overland is one of those guys.
Oh. Yeah, Dace is one of those guys. Dace is probably leading the pack on that group. All right, so the Prairie Meadow story.
All right, let's step back to we could go back clear to the founding and say that the founding of Prairie Meadows was done on a lie back there in the late 80s, that a horse track with the bonds put back onto the people of Polk County was going to ever be viable. Horse tracks are going down all over the country. Within 2 years, it was bankrupt as they knew it would be, and they did turn out. They fired some of the county supervisors that voted to get that thing in, and then they, of course, went ahead and put slots in. They quickly paid off the debt, and it's been, on to the races ever since, literally and figuratively. Now, in 2004. A partnership of the Isle of Capri and Wild Rose approached the city of Des Moines, initially successfully, to go ahead and do a referendum. At that point, you had to do a referendum to get a new casino in. And so they were going to do a referendum for the county with the blessing of the city that they could come in and put a casino. I think they were looking at the airport area. They had another location that was possible to come in and compete with Prairie Meadows. Within a day or two of that being decided, Prairie Meadows presented itself to the city of Des Moines and offered them over $6 million initially to agree to bar that and to not support any effort by anybody in the future that would come in with a for-profit or other casino, and it would have to be a for-profit, to compete with them. And every year since then, it's been going on for 11 years, they have given the city of Des Moines over $6 million for that ongoing, I call it a bribe. And in essence, one of the linchpins of this decision to pull their nonprofit 501c4 status is that you are not to compete with a for-profit enterprise. Moreover, you certainly shouldn't be negotiating a behind-the-door deal with the city of Des Moines for $6 million a year bribe to keep off for-profit competition. Now, that's one of the linchpins. Now, it would certainly appear to me it's odd. In fact, when Bill Petrosky called me last week to interview me for the story that came out on Sunday, I mentioned there were two pieces in the paper quoted Christine Hensley as saying that she was shocked at this. And I said, I'm a fan of the old movie Casablanca, Humphrey Bogart. You guys remember that one? Do you remember where looking
at you, baby.
Remember where the inspector was in Rick's place, Humphrey Bogart's place, and the Nazis told him to shut this place down? Why? Come up with a reason. There's subversives here. Okay. He goes over to Humphrey Bogart and he says, I'm going to shut you down, Rick. And Rick looks around. Why? He says, well, I'm shocked to find out there's gambling here. And the guy from the back room of the big casino comes and, Inspector, here's your money. Oh, thank you very much. I'm shocked to find out that there's gambling going on in here. And that's similar to what Christine Hensley's I'm shocked is. She's been taking directly for the city of Des Moines $6 million a year payoff from the gambling operation. She's shocked to find out that the IRS is no longer going to go along with that. Now
it didn't go to her, though.
It didn't, not directly, maybe, but and I'm not
to the city,
but to the city, and they have been using it. And this hotel that that is written up today, that came across today in the Civic Skinny, is going to be another boondog that's going to sit on the Polk County taxpayers, and they're going to be upset when they find out they got to pay off millions of dollars in bonding when Prairie Meadows is no longer able to underwrite this thing. And so, in fact, I would suspect, Mac, when this thing blows up and the curtain is pulled and they find out the people behind the curtain weren't what they were purported to be, that Wild Rose and Isle of Capri are going to have probably a pretty good action back on the city of Des Moines and Prairie Meadows, and it may cost them even more. Because they were the victims of this sham perpetrated by ostensibly a charitable operation and the collusion with the city of Des Moines. So I'm saying that that is there. Also, they treated themselves, Prairie Meadows treated themselves as a for-profit entity. In fact, they've been quoted as, well, we're a for-profit entity, even in the paper. They became so complacent with their position. They were the big gorilla. They gave, grants out to here, grants out to here. They underwrote, but just a second, Frank. But one of the things that they did, I think is another linchpin that's going to catch them up, is they used the for-profit casinos of similar size around the country for their compensation. Their executive compensation, starting with the head man, the $700,000 plus a year compensation, and the underlings were compared against people working for for-profit casinos, and that's another no-no. They should have done a comp of nonprofits. You know that Prairie Meadows is one of the top 10 nonprofits in the entire country? Did you know that?
I did not.
Based on revenue. Go
So
ahead,
do
Frank.
you suppose the free pop and free coffee's out the door?
And look, they've got restaurants, they've got hotels out there that compete against legitimate for-profit entities. And again, how fair is that? That's why the IRS has regs set up so that you're not supposed to be taking advantage of your tax-exempt position to drive private, legitimate enterprises out of business. But that's what they've been doing for a quarter of a century.
All right, Tom Coates. Tom will be with us next hour as we continue this conversation and more. Plus, Shane Vanderhart from Caffeinated Thoughts will be in as he's a Trump guy. Or, I'm sorry, he's a Cruz guy. And he's one of those hashtag never Trump. And I just want to understand, so he'll be in to talk about that. Also, next hour, to start us off, the nuns. I mean, the NUNS. They are getting into a little political arena with a brand new billboard campaign. One billboard is set to go up in Des Moines right around the corner from now. What do you think it's about? Babies? Marriage? Drugs? You'll be surprised. We'll talk about that when we come back. All right, it's almost 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock will be the Salem Radio Network News, and then we'll be back right here in Mac's World on 99.3. This is The Truth, powered by webcast1live.com. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. Right here on The Truth.